All right, everyone, estate planning, right, can kind of seem like a big, scary task, but we have some help for you here today. We're about to learn what you need to do to be ready for your retirement. President and founder of Premier Retirement and Wealth Management, Jeff Fogan, is here again to rescue us. You always come in with some great stuff, and each time you come on, Jeff, I feel like I learn something. First thing I've learned is, when we're talking about a comprehensive financial plan, it's not just kind of asset allocation, stocks and bonds. You really kind of break it down, which is what I love you for. And one of those big things is estate planning, right? Right. Estate planning, I think a lot of people don't like to think about estate planning so much because it has to do with when they die. And that's not a subject you typically like to come up with and talk about or deal with. But in essence, it's the fifth part that we really try to tackle in a comprehensive estate plan after the income planning, after the asset management, investment planning, healthcare management, and tax planning. And then what do you do with all your stuff when you're done with it? When you're ready to move on and leave whatever kind of legacy that you want to leave. And so, a lot of people need to address those questions, and sometimes people wait maybe a little too long to do that. And do you think maybe this time of year, because we're seeing our family, we're interacting with our family, if maybe that kind of brings that to top of mind? I find that it does. A lot of times it's, when we're with our family, we realize, hey, we have an estate, especially as we get older, and maybe people your age might not be thinking about it yet. They ought to. But as we get older, we think, what? I love my family. What I've built here and what I have, I'd like to leave them in some easy manner. And estate planning, in a nutshell, to me, is just how you want your assets to pass with the least amount of trouble, time, taxes, and effort on your kids' behalf. And so, if we can make that transition easy, that's a good thing. Is that kind of how you define estate planning? That's how I would define estate planning. But you mentioned the holidays, and one of the things that I think brings that type of mind is because we typically do get together with our loved ones, and we do have a chance to interact with them. I remember it was a recent holiday party where I found out I was having 3 new grandkids, twins by one of my children, and it gives you kind of that sentimental connection with, hey, you know what? I love these people. I want to do something for them. I want to make sure that I plan my estate to not only have my own retirement, my own financial situation intact, but I'd love to do something for them as well. And so the holidays and those get-togethers, I think sometimes, at least it brings it to the top of my mind, and I find that my clients typically have more questions and want to review during or shortly after the holidays. So that's why this is very timely that we're talking about this. And I think what also makes estate planning not seem so big and scary when we're talking about it is getting a little bit of knowledge. And one of those is a lot of people ask, I'm sure of you, is what is the difference between a will and a trust? Or when do I choose one or the other, or do I need both? Right. There's a fun saying, where there's a will, I want to be in it. You've heard that one? Yes. And most people just go with the idea that everybody needs a will. A will is an end-all. In essence, in actuality, a will is a document that needs to be taken to court through a probate process. Probate process meaning prove in court. And that probate process typically is cumbersome for heirs. Typically involves attorneys, time, can involve contests sometimes. Because it is an open public event, there can be some problems and some things that aren't necessarily in the best interest of the family or the estate. And so a lot of people will choose a trust. A trust is where you actually put your assets in trust. The trust actually owns your assets. You become the manager of those assets until you pass on, and then those assets just get a new boss. In other words, you can put your children or someone you trust, that's why they call it a trust, on as a trustee of that trust. They can pass out all the assets and distribute them however they want to, or however you say in the trust to do that. And so it skips the probate process, takes a lot less time, and for most people it's far more efficient. I mean, unless you need court supervision because you just really don't trust your children, that would be one of the only reasons in my mind why a trust would maybe be better than, or a will rather would be better than a trust. And we're getting just like a tiny snippet of education very from tiny. You. There's so much to cover. And I know you do educational classes. Do you cover the estate planning portion of that in the classes? Yeah, we do. Not in total detail because obviously, it's a comprehensive course. Though I think you're alluding to the course that we do over at Pima College and some of our other events. But yeah, it's pretty comprehensive. People will get at least a taste and a flavor of what they might want to look at. And most of the education that we want people to get, and even today with you, is to help people to ask the right questions, to ask better questions. The way you get better answers is to know the questions to ask and to ask them.
and to hopefully ask them to someone who's competent and experienced enough to give them the right answer.
Well, and I know, like I said, of course, we get a little bit of knowledge from you here. I had no idea the difference between a will and a trust. I already feel like I'm one step closer to knowing, what is best for me. These classes, of course, like you said, are something people can take advantage of. I'm going to tell them when those happen. But Jeff, I know I'm going to see you again. We're going to tackle a whole other subject, and you are always so knowledgeable and lay it out for me, so even I can understand. Thank you so much for coming in.
Well, thank you for having me here.
All right, everyone, for more information, to schedule a consultation or to get a second opinion to make sure that your plan is working for you, call Jeff's office. They're at 780-9059 or visit premret.com. You can also attend a tax planning or estate planning course on one of the dates listed on your screen, so take a look. But again, that phone number for you is 780-9059 for any more information.